Dr. Duke definitely cured my neck pain through the surgery. It's just, that's the bottom line. He cured my neck pain. 22 years ago, I had my first car accident. I was pregnant with my second son, and my car was totaled. I had my seatbelt on, and they were mostly concerned about my son, who, you know, I'd just come from a gynecology visit, and my son was fine. I only had seatbelt bruises, so nothing else happened. Approximately a year later, I had a rather bad rear-end car accident. There again, I went to the doctor. He sent me home. I had some back pain, but nothing major. Approximately 6 weeks after that, I had another rear-end accident. Never thought anything about it. Thereafter, I began having headaches, and not just, you know, headaches once in a while, daily headaches. The pain was so intense, I could not function. I stayed in bed for days on end. I stopped socializing with my friends. I could not, for almost 5 years. It got to the point where I didn't go anywhere. I didn't do anything. The pain was so incredibly intense. I cried. I went to doctor after doctor, begging them to give me something, you know, anything. I did test after test. The pain was so horrific, I cannot tell you. I mean, the neck pain, the headache pain was just unbearable. And they, you know, they ask you to fill out the form, what's your pain level from 1 to 10? And I'd put 10 plus. And they would be like, well, you can't really put a 10. I said, well, then let you feel what I feel. I'd put a 20, I'd put a 50 if I could. That's how bad the pain was. Let's see, I saw ear, nose, throat doctors. You need to have sinus surgery. Followed that through up in Gainesville. No, you don't need sinus surgery. Oh, maybe you have a brain tumor. No, I don't have a brain tumor. I had MRIs. I had so many things because the pain was excruciating, and they just thought either I was making it up because I couldn't find anything, and I could not function. I took whatever I could find as far as painkillers over the counter. They tried prescribing me migraine medication. It did nothing. And ultimately, 2 years ago, I went to a pain management doctor. I'd had enough. And the pain medication worked. I did not want to get on that, but I did. And after a few months, he said to me, I think something's wrong with your neck. And he sent me to have an MRI. And the results came back from the MRI, and he goes, you have got herniated discs in your neck. The pressure of one of my discs was putting pressure on my spinal cord, and it was from whatever, I don't know the medical term, but it was causing me to lose. I had a lot of memory problems, a lot of issues with, you know, I'd walk into a room and couldn't remember why I walked into the room. I'd tell my husband something and tell him the same thing 5 minutes later, and he'd say, you just told me that. And I'd say, I did? And I just, you know, I thought I was going crazy. The pain medication worked, but after being on it for 2 years, I realized I don't want to live on pain medication for the rest of my life. It's just not something I wish to do. And that's when I went online. I had heard from a friend about Duke Spine Institute. The first time I met Dr. Duke was when I went to the Lunch and Learn, which I found online, and he introduced himself along with his staff. And I was interested, so I made the appointment, the first initial appointment, where I met him, and he went over my case, and he saw my MRIs. And I was so impressed with his, first of all, his interest in my case, his interest in me as a person. He looked me in the eyes. He didn't dismiss me. He didn't I could relate to him. He seemed to understand what I was going through. He assured me that he would keep me pain-free until the surgery. I felt extremely comfortable. I felt like I was in competent hands from the beginning. I had no qualms about him. I just had a great feeling about him. I had also known somebody who had surgery with Dr. Dude almost 10 years ago, and she had told me what a great doctor he was. So between his staff and meeting Dr. Duke, I was sold immediately, so to speak. And the day of the surgery, they explained what was going to happen, and I got out of surgery and got home, and the headaches were gone. All of a sudden, I realized I could remember things. I could think clearly. I just can't believe what it feels like not to live with a headache every day, and to have that pain in my neck also. You know, because I never realized that the headaches were my first symptom, and the neck was what caused them, and I never knew that. I just assumed, you know, I've got these wicked headaches, and nobody would believe me, and it just felt so good to finally have somebody say, this is it, this is why this is happening. And so to be able to turn my neck, to be able to drive without pain, to be able to do anything, to be able to walk without pain. My pain scale was 10 plus. I couldn't even explain. People thought I was, yeah, right, I don't have pain, so I don't need a pain scale anymore because there is no pain. It's gone. In 2 weeks, you couldn't even see where the incision was. It was so small. So I don't know where it is. It maybe was a quarter of an inch. I can't even tell where it is. It's down here somewhere. You can't see it. I would recommend Dr. Duke to anybody who even thinks that they have a problem, because he will tell you he's very upfront about what he can and cannot do, and I cannot tell you, I can't recommend him more highly than, I can't say enough about Dr. Duke, let's put it that way. There's no words that can describe what a blessing he's been to not just me, but my family. I'm driving, no problem. I can turn my neck to look both ways. I don't have to turn my body. I can turn my neck, it doesn't hurt. It's fabulous. It's like, I feel like I'm free, like all of a sudden it's like I've been given a second chance to live. That's what it feels like, and it's just incredible, an incredible feeling. I can exercise like a regular person. I feel like a regular person again. I didn't feel like a person before. I just felt like a headache. My headache, my whole life revolved around my headaches and my pain in my neck. I didn't have a life before, and now I have my life back.